Charity Dingle just handed her husband a secret that could destroy her entire family, and within days, he's standing on a mezzanine, fists clenched, ready to send a man over the edge. Literally. If you've been watching Emmerdale for any length of time, you already know that when Mackenzie Boyd goes quiet, that's when things get dangerous. This week, quiet doesn't last long. Let's talk about what's coming to the village between the 13th and the 17th of July, because honestly, this is one of those weeks where nearly every storyline is sitting on a knife edge. We'll start with the big one. Ross Barton agrees to help Mack with a job on the farm, and straight away, you can feel something's off. Ross tries to check if they're okay. Mack says everything's fine, but anyone who's watched these two share screen time before knows that's not true. There's history there, there's resentment, and it's been sitting under the surface for a long time now. While they're unloading sacks in the barn, that resentment finally breaks. It turns physical. They end up grappling near the mezzanine, and Ross goes over the edge. Now here's what makes this genuinely gripping rather than just dramatic for the sake of it. Mack isn't just angry at Ross for old reasons. He's just found out that his wife had an affair with this man, and that the daughter everyone believes is Sarah's is actually Charity's. That's not something you process calmly. That's the kind of betrayal that changes a person. So the question isn't really whether Ross falls. We know he does. The real question is what state Mack is in afterwards, and whether this is an accident he can live with or something closer to what he actually wanted to happen. Meanwhile, there's a completely different kind of tension building around Vanessa. DS Reid turns up at her door with questions about Dr. Caitlin Todd and reveals a serious accusation has been made. For Vanessa, this isn't abstract. This is about the person who assaulted Charity. And what we then see is Vanessa quietly attending a support group for survivors, taking a step that's clearly enormous for her, even if the show doesn't shout about it. That's something worth sitting with for a second. Emmerdale could have made this loud and dramatic. Instead, it's choosing a quieter, more honest route, showing recovery as something that happens in small private moments rather than big speeches. That feels like a deliberate choice and a respectful one. Back with the Dingles, Chaz is stunned to learn Charity's confided in Mack about Leyla. She wants this contained. She's terrified of what happens if Sarah ever finds out the truth about her own daughter. And just when Charity looks like she might finally open up about what Dr. Todd did to her, the moment gets cut short by Liam turning up with a worse-for-wear Mack in tow. That timing tells you everything about how Emmerdale is building this. Charity keeps almost speaking, and something keeps stopping her. Every episode this happens, the pressure just builds a little more. Eventually, something has to give. If you're the kind of viewer who likes untangling every thread before the show hands it to you, you'll want to stick around for what's coming next, because there's a new mystery in the village too, and it might connect to more than one existing storyline. That mystery belongs to Serena Sugden. She's digging into the past, and she's being careful to hide that research from both Robert and Vanessa. When Vanessa mentions Serena's questions about John to Moira, Moira's reaction is sharp. She warns that certain truths must stay buried. Then Kev suddenly places where he recognizes Serena from and tells Robert. Aaron's suspicions, which were already simmering, don't fade, not even a little. The next day, Robert's knocked unconscious by a runaway trailer. Aaron can't ignore that Serena happened to be nearby when it happened, so he teams up with his mum, Chaz, to watch her closely, and what they find leaves them reeling. Now, here's a theory worth throwing into the mix, and I want to be upfront that this is speculation, not confirmed information. Given the connection to John Sugden, a name with plenty of buried history in this village, there's a real possibility Serena isn't just digging for personal reasons. She might be protecting someone, or exposing someone. Villages like Emmerdale rarely introduce a mystery character with this much secrecy unless the payoff touches multiple families at once. Let's shift tone for a moment, because not every storyline this week is about danger. Gabby's story continues to develop in a way that feels painfully real. Dawn asks her and Billy to hold off telling the kids about their relationship, and while Billy's support helps a little, the frustration is clearly building in Gabby. Then Clemmy catches them kissing and goes straight to Dawn. Clemmy seems to take it in her stride, but Dawn struggles with it far more than expected. What's harder to watch is Gabby's growing anxiety around food. It peaks when she pulls her son Thomas out of a birthday party after something on the menu distresses her. This isn't a throwaway detail. Emmerdale's clearly building towards something more serious here. And if you've noticed the small moments building over recent weeks, this storyline has been quietly escalating for a while now. If you're enjoying piecing these storylines together as much as I am, hitting subscribe means you won't miss how they collide next week. Over at the CAF, there's a smaller but genuinely interesting shift happening. Nicola tells Ross the Kev situation is sorted, but she still worries about Lewis. Then Lewis makes his own call and gives his dad a job at the CAF, completely wrong-footing Nicola. Lewis is left second-guessing whether he's made a mistake. It's a small storyline compared to Ross and Mack, but it says a lot about Lewis. He's trying to build a relationship with a father who's let him down before, and doing it in a way that puts him at odds with people he trusts. Whether Kev proves himself or lets everyone down again is going to say a lot about where this goes next. Elsewhere, Caleb hands Carrie responsibility for one of his counterfeit deliveries, pairing her with Billy to get it done. Can Carrie actually be trusted with something this risky? Given her track record, that's not a small question. And Noah drops a genuine bombshell on Mack, admitting he's seriously considering moving abroad for work. The timing couldn't be worse, not with everything currently unraveling around Charity. Will Mack even have the emotional capacity to talk him out of it, given what he's dealing with himself? Finally, there's Jimmy, sneaking off work for a round of golf with Manpreet. On its own, this looks like nothing more than a light throwaway moment. But knowing how Emmerdale tends to plant seeds early, this friendship might be quietly setting up his exit storyline. So where does that leave us heading into next week? Ross's fate is unclear. Charity's secret is inching closer to the surface every single day. Serena's motives are still completely hidden, and Gabby's struggle looks like it's only getting harder from here. Here's the question I'd genuinely love to know your thoughts on. Do you think Mack pushed Ross out of pure rage, or is there a part of him that wanted this to happen? And with Serena, what's your theory? Is she protecting someone from the past, or is she the danger everyone should be watching out for? Drop your predictions, because next week we find out just how many of these threads are about to collide.